Have you ever come across a character who you just couldn't help but relate to, despite their inherent flaws and shortcomings? If so, it seems you're not alone. With the recent rise of Sigma male content and memes across the internet, it is seemingly impossible to avoid characters such as Patrick Bateman, Tyler Durden, Officer K, and the literally me comments that follow. These characters typically exhibit explicitly negative character traits such as violence, manipulation, and depression, and are still seemingly adored by fans alike. While there is some room to discuss these comments as a meme or a joke, I believe there is some truth behind these statements. This phenomenon can be dubbed the literally me phenomenon, and I find it to be a fascinating cultural trend that raises some important questions about our relationships with fictional characters. Take Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, for example. He's a bounty hunter with a troubled past, and he's not exactly what you would call a role model. He's a smoker, a drinker, a womanizer, he's selfish, stubborn, and prone to violence, and yet for some reason, people all over the internet see themselves within him. Or consider Shinji from Neon Genesis Evangelion. He's a teenage boy who is forced to pilot a giant robot and fight monsters to save the world. He's also deeply troubled and emotionally unstable. He's prone to self-doubt, anxiety, depression. He's withdrawn and isolated, and he often struggles to connect with the people around him. And yet again, people find themselves relating to him. And then there's Guts from Berserk. He's a mercenary with a tragic past, on a mission for revenge against the man who betrayed him. He's ruthless, brutal, and unforgiving. He's driven by a single-minded obsession that borders on madness. And yet, once again, people see themselves within him. So what is it about these characters that draw us in? Why do we relate to them, even when they exhibit behaviors and beliefs that we might find repugnant in real life? One possible explanation is that fictional characters allow us to explore aspects of ourselves that we might not otherwise be able to. They give us a chance to imagine what it would be like to live a different kind of life with different values and priorities. Furthermore, relating to morally ambiguous characters doesn't necessarily mean that we condone their behavior. It's possible to recognize the flaws and contradictions of a character while still finding aspects of them relatable or intriguing. Spike can be seen as resilient, resourceful, and loyal. Shinji can be seen as empathetic, brave, and self-reflective, and Guts can be seen as determined, skilled, and protective. These characters can also be seen as antiheroes. Antiheroes are characters who don't conform to the traditional heroic archetypes, but are still the protagonist of their story. They might have some qualities that people admire, like bravery or a sense of justice, but they also have flaws that make them seem more human. Another reason people might relate to these morally ambiguous characters is that they're often depicted as outsiders. Spike Spiegel is a bounty hunter who operates outside the law. Shinji is a teenager who struggles with a sense of belonging, and Guts is a lone mercenary who is haunted by his past. Many people can relate to feelings of not fitting in or living on the fringes of society. Complex emotions and inner turmoil can also make these characters seem more relatable. Spike Spiegel has a tragic past that he can't escape. Shinji struggles with depression and anxiety, and Guts is consumed by his desire for revenge. These struggles are things that many people can relate to, even if they don't necessarily condone the character's actions. My personal opinion as to why so many people are drawn to morally ambiguous characters is because of the negative characteristics themselves. Tendencies such as aggression, sadness, depression, recklessness, and selfishness are all an extremely human issue and idea. I believe that these characters highlight what individuals struggle with personally, making them resonate with and empathize, easily overlooking any negative tendencies. Ultimately, the literally me phenomenon reminds us of the powers of storytelling, and the ways in which fictional characters can help us understand ourselves and our world in new and unexpected ways. People can relate to these morally ambiguous characters because they're outsiders with complex emotions and inner turmoil. Some viewers might even see them as antiheroes with qualities that they admire but also flaws that make them more human. Whatever the reason, it's clear that these characters have struck a chord with many fans, and they continue to resonate with audiences to this day. Quickly, I'd like to take this time to ask anyone that made it this far for some help. I haven't read an overwhelming amount of manga, and I'd like to start making videos such as these on screen. It would help me a lot if you wanted to share your manga recommendations with me in the comments. Keep them reasonably short, please. Anyways, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.